agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Approval of the 9/3/2024 regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Perfect. Public comment, the call-in number is 715-538-1894, 715-538-1894. Do we have anyone here for public comment? Right, if you want to come on up, introduce yourself, and we'll have a little timer. You have 3 minutes, so.
So, Julie asked me to play where she spoke introduction. Julie asked me to play a little intro video before she spoke, so I will play that over the Zoom. It's about a minute.
Are we having technical difficulties in there? Tim's here, so I just wondered. I think you.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. I might have to listen on my computer.
Put your mic down there, maybe.
All right, welcome.
Thank you. I
Before you
appreciate,
Dave, jeez Louise.
Let's be patient. Let's practice kindness and patience today. That would be.
Mindful Tuesday.
I'm going to talk to you about some things I've learned in my journey.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey.
Some of them I heard in passing. Many of them I'm still
Nothing like
practicing.
everybody watching, right?
excellent.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try
That
to
is
make it
true.
that way.
That wasn't all part of my vlog, but
How do I get out of this shirt?
A feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it. Get on.
I'm just leaving.
Okay, whatever.
there you go.
Question.
Yeah,
Sorry, Julie.
he's pretty inspirational, so,
All right,
okay, am I on here?
yes.
So, hello, thank you for the time again. My name is Julie Booth. I live at 514 Elm Street in Strum. And I want to thank you first off for having us here, but also I was able to meet a lot of you a couple months ago when we brought up our initiatives in Strum regarding the pickleball. So I won't go through a lot of the data and the growth, and hopefully maybe you've experienced some research on that over the last couple months, but we really appreciate you keeping us on your agenda, and wanted to talk to you a little bit today about how we've been moving forward. So I gave you a brochure. This is our initial, it's not front and back, so apologize for that, but this will be one of our promotional brochures that we will be disseminating out, and we're starting to get a lot of community involvement bit by bit. We have a ton of support from other groups who have already established play in Eau Claire County and North Chippewa County in that location. We really want to emphasize that we are will be the first dedicated courts at the northern end of Trempealeau County. I think the next closest is in Arcadia, and they have random play, but not an organized group. So we are beginning to get much more organized, especially in the volunteerism standpoint. What we wanted to talk to you a little bit about today was moving into our phase 2, which is the fundraising and continued efforts to hopefully obtain some county support that matches along with our village support, which will be, as you saw in the video and in our brochure, the grand scheme of our plan. We'll have our fencing and our painting, which are two of the top more expensive ends that we will be hoping to gain. And we have a lot of events that we'll have planned for 2025 once it's completed, which will really promote a lot of the tourism and community. I believe probably the golf course at Strum is already experiencing some good kickback from our play, as well as in the future, the campground area. This park that was once owned by the county, and now the village, back and forth a few times over the last few decades. But Strum, the village of Strum has really promoted a lot to bring people into the northern end of Trempealeau County, and this is going to help it grow exponentially, I believe, from my own experience. Thank you very much, and appreciate your discussion today.
All right, thank you.
Perfect.
Anyone else?
Timed perfectly.
I just want to add a couple of things.
Sure.
I'm Valerie
Go ahead.
Semis, and I also live in Strum. I'm an RN, Mayo Clinic, retired 1 year ago. And part of my efforts at Mayo Clinic Cardiology was exercise and cardiac rehab. So as I retired and looking for something to do, got in touch with Joanne and we started the pickleball play in Strum. Our goal at the high school is looking also at the health initiatives that this creates, and we have diabetics, we have people with heart disease, and they're there as part of their therapy and treatment to keep their blood sugars down, their monitoring. We have some that are in cardiac rehab and exercising, so the benefits health-wise is just huge. So that's why I am really gung-ho all about pickleball. Thanks.
All right. Anyone else?
I'm Joanne Adams, and I'm from Oliva. I've been retired for 4 years, and I started playing pickleball probably about 3 years ago. I think you all have this flyer in your folders that you received today. It's for the open house that we're having next Tuesday, October 8th, at our new pickleball courts. We were able to get the courts taped yesterday. It's just a temporary thing. It's just on the cement, so we really need to get that painting the whole courts and stuff, because the cement is a little bit rough. But the open house is on from 4:30 to 6:30. We have a couple clinicians coming from Eau Claire who give lessons. So we're opening this up to anyone. Come watch. Come play with us. We'll probably have a couple games going on. We'll have some food available. Pickleball has really helped me a lot. It's instead of sitting at home on the couch, I'm out there and I'm getting exercise. A lot of the people we play with are close to my age. We have people with joint replacements that are able to play. It's a fantastic sport. We just have a lot of fun, and we really would like to get our courts completed in Strum. Thank you.
Anyone else? Comment? All right. Wisconsin Great River Road update. Jean, you are on. Can you hear us, Jean?
Hello.
There you go.
Good morning, everyone. Our annual meeting was September 18th through the 20th in Winona. It was a very good turnout. Great conversation. Learned a lot. Lacrosse County Commissioner Rosnick was a recipient of the National Mississippi River Parkway Commission Stewardship with leadership operation in pollination on Wisconsin state at a national level. We're very, very proud of her and all her hard work with pollination. The next postcard by Eric Paulson, who is the co-host of Discover Wisconsin TV show. He's also the gentleman that takes care of the Cabin podcast. He's a radio DJ. He is the one that worked with John Anfinson, who is the person that narrated our Discover Wisconsin episode. He just put out the last, I believe, of the postcards, so you can see that on Wisconsin Great River Road and also on YouTube. We're hopefully going to be getting finances for episode 2 of Discover Wisconsin, which will work with history and military of the counties. We're hoping that John Anfinson will narrate that again for us. And if anybody enjoys Mississippi Refuge information, the Mississippi River itself, recreation, Google him. John Anfinson has been writing for 30 plus years, and his work is fantastic. And lastly, tomorrow there's a virtual meeting Wisconsin Great River Road will be on in regards to the Wisconsin Electric Vehicle Association. When I get that information, I will pass it along to Dave. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Jean. Report on tourism, social media, web analytics, Dave, and river travel media.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. I'm just going to give a little context, and then I'll introduce my guests. For the last 3 years, starting in 2021, before I got here, River Travel Media did just a very small campaign with us. They're out of La Crosse. I don't know how you would describe yourself, but they're in the public relations and marketing space, is the way I would look at it. And they helped with just a small campaign in the fall of 2021, trying to encourage people to come visit Trempealeau County in the wake of COVID, and really was boosting the idea that there's plenty of outdoor things to do, plenty of safe things to do in Trempealeau County. And we have built on that over the years. In 2021, we obtained a fairly sizable grant of almost $19,000, I think it was, to do some additional marketing. Again, it was COVID-related ARPA funding that helped do a pretty big splash. And that really helped us in 2022 to expand our reach in terms of where we were being able to market, what kinds of things we were able to do. Of course, that money went away after 2022, but we have kept engaged with River Travel Media, and in 23 and now in 24, they have helped us, kind of supplement what we're doing. I do a lot of Facebook posting, Instagram posting. They help with supplementing that somewhat, but where River Travel has been really good is getting into some of the weeds of digital marketing placement out there online. So that's just the background. Some of the holdover members remember Amy and Brent, but I will have them come up. They sent me their presentation. So if you want to just come up and introduce yourselves, I'll get your presentation up, guys.
So my name is Amy Gabay, co-owner of River Travel Media, and as Dave said, we've been working with Trempealeau County for a time. My business partner is Brent Hannafel. He's just passing out a little rack card that shows sort of the types of work we do with tourism. We primarily work with tourism marketing, so we have clients, everything from like maybe a small chamber to multi-county groups and sort of everything in between. Trempealeau County has been a great partner with us for these past few years, and we wanted to go over what our most recent campaign looks like with Trempealeau County. As you see on those rack cards, we do a lot of different work in tourism spaces, but like Dave said, for Trempealeau, we've kind of focused on the digital aspects in these last couple of years. So taking a look at, I mean, can everyone hear me well? Am I?
Very well.
Okay.
People listening on my night.
So you want to get
Okay.
to the mic?
All right. we
Is this
will.
on if it's red?
Okay, thank you. So starting out with our campaign, just a little basics of who we are. We do advertising strategy. We do analytics and reporting of all the work that we do. Example you're going to see just shortly. Branding, we do best of campaigns, which is something that we recently started as it's been part of our history, but we've never incorporated it into our business. So it's been fun to start doing that kind of programming for people as well. Content development, digital advertising, email marketing, event marketing. Let's go ahead on to the next slide, please. So for this year, we worked on a digital campaign that ran from June through, ran through the end of the year, but these analytics just go through September 23rd when I pulled them. It ends in December. It includes Facebook, Instagram posts, some Google digital advertising, and a sweepstakes. The target markets that we are hitting, primarily drive markets, so Milwaukee, Rochester, Green Bay, Appleton, Cedar Rapids, Dubuque, Davenport. We can go on to the next slide. So taking a look at the Google Analytics, now this is just Trempealeau's website is, huge, tons of visitors. This is just narrowing it down to the pages that are visitor-centric. So the landing page is on the right. You'll see it's visitor/index. That's your home page for your Trempealeau Tourism landing page. And then visitors bicycle, camping, etc. So this last year, comparing June through September 23rd through the same period last year, we had a 289% increase in the number of sessions and about 280 in the number of new users, percent increase over the same time last year. Beautiful jump, so that was really nice to see. Trempealeau always has really good numbers. Every time we do any sort of analytics for you, we're always really happy to sort of talk about what we've done. And we also often share kind of the type of growth that you guys had with our clients as well. You can go on to the next page. Facebook and Instagram analytics. This is also comparing the same period last year. Now you'll see there's a little bit of a drop in percentage-wise. And in this case, last year, we had a digital ad budget that was exclusively used on Facebook and so on social media. So comparing this year to last year, this year we didn't have that spend into social media. So it's a little bit of a drop, but we still had an increase, a sizable increase, almost 94% in the number of Facebook visits. And we still had an increase of over 100% in the Instagram profile visits. So things are still growing in that direction, but the reach wasn't as far because we weren't pushing the advertising dollars behind it. Pretty self-explanatory. Your Facebook followers, always good to see as a tourism entity that you're primarily pushing out to women. They're the decision makers in the families where you're going to go and what you're going to do. So that's always good to see. And you have a really nice spread when it comes to age groups. So you are really, hitting all the age groups that are interested in you. And it's nice to see that some of the younger groups, 35 to 44, starting, having kids, wanting to take the family places, excellent group to reach out to. And then the older groups as well who have a little more money, who can take the grandkids and come on trips as well. It's good to see that.
I'm going to just interrupt for a second. I checked the analytics this morning, or checked the Facebook, and we actually are at 3,701 for followers now, so we ticked over that 3,700. That's up from about 3,050 at the beginning of this year, and it's up from around 2,000 in February of '22. And I started in March '22. I'm not saying there's any correlation, but it's something like an 85. Actually, it's a lot of these guys here. That's like an 85% increase, and we're getting to a size now where it can kind of build on itself, because the more people that follow you, the more people that they know that can share the experience.
And people find a lot of inspiration for where they want to go through social media. So it's always good to have a strong social media campaign.
The other thing I was going to mention about reach from the last slide, and I won't bring it back up, is it is true in that sample period that we looked at, it was down, and Amy explained why that was. we actually have been getting a lot of mileage out of some non-paid posts that we have done. And I don't know if you were going to talk about those, but if not, maybe I'll mention those.
So also talking about responsive display ads. So, responsive display is through Google, which pretty much owns every property that's online in some sense. We're basically, using these responsive display ads. They adapt, they change. We upload either branded material or just the imagery with simple calls to actions. And we're basically driving traffic back to the website to sign up for the sweepstakes or newsletter or find information. It's just a great tool for tracking. To give you an example of what this means, you can kind of see where we're at with impressions. Click-through rate. On click-through rate, 2.47 is actually very good. I think the industry standard, I don't know if I put it up there, is well below 0.1. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck for that. You see how, average cost per click, but also just engagements. So in some ways, we're driving traffic with clicks, but also we're kind of more of the traditional banner ads, billboard sort of pieces where we're trying to stay top of mind. Dave's gotten some brand photography together, so, from what we can tell, it's some creative content of imagery, and it's really kind of well optimized and resonated with people participating in it. So it's been kind of exciting to see those numbers click up and up. So we'll see where we're at in December as well, so there'll be updates on that.
So the Trempealeau County Summer Sweepstakes. We like running sweepstakes with our clients for several reasons, and one being that email is not at all dead. It is incredibly important, especially for tourism entities, to continue to reach out to people through email. And these sweepstakes are a really great way to gather those email addresses of people who are interested in you. And one of the things we always suggest, and which Dave is really good about, is you have to build something that people have to come here for. They want an overnight stay. They have to come here for it. So people who are putting their names in are people who are truly interested in Trempealeau County. It's not a quilt that you're going to be mailing out so someone in California is going to, be signing up every chance they get. So these are,
Quilts are awesome, by the way.
which are, yeah. So far, we have 155 total contestants. The 5,417 entries you see here is that people who join the sweepstakes, they get an opportunity to then go ahead and like your Facebook page, follow you on Instagram, visit your website. We give them a list of tasks that they do. They can share information about Trempealeau on their social media. They can share the sweepstakes. And every time they do one of these tasks, they get extra entries. So it helps grow your footprint that way, and also through a word of mouth kind of way, which is really nice. People they trust what their friends are interested in as well. So this is where we are with the sweepstakes. This is going to be running yet through till the end of the year as well.
Just so the idea doesn't get lost in the discussion here, Amy mentioned that these, by signing up for this sweepstakes, you also get added to this email list that we maintain. And it's through an outside vendor. Robley is what we use. And I think we are at about 2,400 email addresses on that. So what we can and have used that for in the past is to send email newsletters directly to people. These are people that have consented by signing up to having their email be used and for us to be able to send to them. And so that's really, we talk about what is something that we can do at a relatively inexpensive cost. We can send directly to these emails.
And I really agree with Dave that is an excellent way to continue to be, like Brent was saying, top of mind for people. And at our last Wisconsin Governor's Conference on Tourism, they really hit email hard. It's something that has not quit. You think that maybe email is dead, but it isn't, especially in tourism. And Trempealeau in particular, they have some of our best numbers when it comes to click-through rates and open rates of any of our clients. People who are signing up to get information from Trempealeau County really are engaged with you. You have a really nicely engaged audience of people who are interested in what you have. So I would highly suggest continuing with that. So that sort of wraps up what we've been doing. It's a small campaign, so we don't have a ton of analytics for you or different programs that we've been doing, just the social media, sweepstakes, and digital advertising. Does anyone have any questions for us as to sort of what we've been up to?
Thank you very much.
And just one more comment, just to talk about what Dave was talking about. We are helping out with additional social posting, so we post continuously multiple times a week, whereas Dave is also supplementing with that. But, you know, with our campaigns, they're malleable as we go through them. And so Dave came up with an idea that he's been posting recently related to more comment-based and likes of best of the region for various things, from outside views to best drinks to food, trying to get traffic going and people talking about it. So those are sort of things that some people sign up with agencies and they buy a complete packet, and there's no real flexibility in that. We work with Dave directly on an ongoing basis to adapt and change as we go throughout the year.
Wonderful. Yes.
I just have a quick question. Do you ever do any comparisons, like how we're doing with foot traffic and so forth with other counties that you're working with? I mean, we're tiny compared to some of the other, but we're like close to Pepin and Monroe and.
Well, we see it on our end. If we share analytics, we do it anonymously. Like we
Okay.
can say, oh, we did a 3-month campaign for a group and they did this kind of spend on it, and this is what we saw from it.
Okay.
But we don't normally will compare like, you know, this is what your other groups and the other clients have done. So we will share it in that sort of a manner
Okay.
often, but we can tell you that Trempealeau does really well in comparison to.
That's what I wanted to hear, that we're the
It does.
best.
It does. It does. When I say you have an engaged audience, you truly, truly do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Question I had, we had pretty much for people finding places to stay, is this linked to the VRBOs and the Airbnbs anyway? Because that seems to be our shortcoming all the time, is lodging.
Well, I mean, really, if we're, you know, trying to connect all those pieces, you know, and there is a landing page at Trempealeau County, but I know potentially in the future, there's talk of an actual website, which I'd highly suggest, which could correlate and kind of condense all the information in one area of, you know, knowledge, which would probably be a good idea, where you can start kind of connecting all the dots with those sort of outside.
And as Brent's talking about this, it also reminds me, when we were looking at those analytic numbers of the Trempealeau website and the list of the pages that have been hit, one thing that's a little bit different there than what we see with our other clients is oftentimes the calendar events is the number 2 most visited page. And if there isn't that kind of a access on county website to sort of create like a malleable calendar that, you know, a local pub can pop on and add their stuff to it, and then Dave just has to click approve, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, being able to do something like that in the future, I think would really also help your numbers, because once you become that source of information for everyone looking for information on Trempealeau, you become that standard. They're going to go there, and especially events is really important.
Perfect.
That should happen sooner rather than later.
Awesome.
Any other comments for them?
We've talked
Yeah.
about that
It's,
for a long
it's
time.
really, yeah, it's unwieldy to try, and pretty much impossible to incorporate that into our existing website. But
Yeah.
part of our aim with the Joint Effort Marketing, or GEM grant, that we've got now is to, in fact, it's in the agreement. We will get a framework of a new website, and then we'll have to sometime next year figure out where to come up with money to actually implement that new website. But it'll be something that won't be bound and constrained by, you know, what we can do with the county
Yeah, okay,
thing.
thank you.
And just to answer, Buzz, we do have information on lodging on our website,
Okay.
so.
All right. Any other questions? Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Yep. Dave, can we go right into the Economic Development and Tourism
You
Report?
bet. I'm just gonna try and share one thing here real quick. Find share here, there we go. So, like I said, you know, we've been doing really well with Facebook lately. And one new thing that I launched kind of on a whim back in late August or early September was doing a little thing called Foodie Fridays. And part of this was when I was doing an asset inventory of tourism assets in Trempealeau County. One of the categories I put together was restaurants, and I was somewhat shocked to learn that we had more than 50 restaurants in Trempealeau County. You know, in my mind, it was a smaller number, but it turned out to be much larger than I thought. And I would think that most people would be surprised. Anyway, long story short, we started with Pam EK's in Oliva. That was before it was called Foodie Fridays, but the response was so great. I said, I think we're on to something. And since then, we have done Beatles in Centerville, Garden of Eden in Galesville, Sweet Temptations, the Ashley Pub, and then just this week we did Norsky Nook in Osseo. And what I'm trying to do is balance it geographically. So that's what you'll see. But anyways, up on the screen here is just an example of a post. This was from last Friday. And just to give you, this is down here where it says insights and ads, 94 likes on that, 5 comments, 13 shares. And when you look at the insights here, this reached 14,845 people. And that was a freebie. I mean, we didn't pay to advertise at all. Now, we are taking a look at doing some Facebook advertising. We've got a little bit of money left this year, and some of the posts that we do, we might decide to boost. But that is just something, you know, and we need to do more of this, admittedly. And so I'm trying to figure out what is the next companion piece to Foodie Friday. If anybody's got any suggestions, I'm open. But this is just, you know, something, you know, the more you post, you know, the better it is because, and I have every confidence in the world that when we do this kind of thing, or Brent and Amy actually came up with Best Burger, and that one got a lot of traction. I think we had like 15,000 engagement on that. There was like, I think, almost 90 comments of people, because that's what we were asking was for people to drop in the comments, Best Burger. So anyways, that's enough on social media now, unless there's any questions.
If
Yep.
you thought of a best of, like they do in a lot of the neighboring counties, so they'll have a best of burger joint,
Right.
best of
Yep.
pizza, best of pizza
Yep.
farm.
Right.
Yeah, Rob tried to do that a few years ago. I
Right.
can't remember if you guys were involved with that. I think it was something he just did, and certainly people do them, and I think it might be a good idea. The one thing that always makes me nervous on that is, you know, we want to maintain good relations with everybody, and if you have a best of, then there's people that aren't the best.
Right.
And so we're trying to be careful.
best of this
I'll be honest,
You
even
bet.
with this Foodie Friday, I worried a little bit at the beginning about it being, well, why didn't you pick my restaurant? Well, by doing Foodie Friday,
You'll get to-
inherently, there's one per week, and we'll get there.
There's a limit.
And if, you know, and if somebody calls me and says, hey, can you come stop here? I might be inclined to do so.
Right.
You know, but otherwise, what I'm trying to do is just balance it out and not just take all the popular spots. You know, I'm trying to figure out, well, where can we go that maybe people haven't heard about? And like Ashley Pub, I said right in my review, it wasn't really a review, but my write-up, that this is a little bit under the radar, because it really is.
Really good food, though.
Oh, it's excellent food and good value.
I don't know if this would fit in with that, but you might want to do something in conjunction with the ADRC and their senior dinings, because they're at all these
Absolutely.
places.
Yes.
And
That's a
they,
really
and
good idea.
Ashley Pub is like one of the hot spots, as well
Oh.
as Sweet Temptations
Yeah.
on Wednesdays. So, you know,
That would be great. And get some
advertise that
and get some people,
Sure.
pictures in there of somebody doing that. That would be great.
Yeah.
You know,
One more quick question. Do you actually do these visits on Fridays?
No,
I'm not saying that you should, but sometimes they have Friday fish specials.
Right.
And I just thought about that.
So
because
Ashley Pub, which was 2 weeks ago, I did. I went Friday like at 10:30, 11 o'clock, had lunch, and, you know, got my pictures of my food being served and stuff like that. That was really good. That was 3 pieces of fish, $10.95.
Well, in Wisconsin, it's sort of known.
yes,
for Friday fish
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, But no, I generally haven't like let them know in advance that I'm coming, you know, so I'm not trying to make it like it's a sneaky food review or anything.
That's what I was just
But-
thinking you could do.
They're kind of joking up in our office about like, oh, people are going to catch on to this, and it's like, oh, Dave's here.
Yeah.
You know?
But that price, only $11 for that for fish fry, that sounds a pretty good deal nowadays.
With like
But-
homemade potato
Yeah.
salad and
Can't go, the price is
coleslaw,
right,
and,
yeah.
yeah, it was delicious. Anyways, so if there's no other questions on that, I'm going to move on so we can stay on track. Visitors guide, we actually have a schedule now on production of that. Ad sales are starting this week. We're going to have editorial copy, photos, and all content due by November 22nd. The ad deadline is also going to be November 22nd. And then, starting the end of November, Madison Media Group will be doing the layout. They'll be doing proofing of ads with advertisers, and then we'll start looking mid-December-ish at getting the proof back for us to review of how it looks. And the date to get it to printer is January 6th, with delivery of the guide targeted for January 20th. So if we can stay on all of those deadlines, we'll be doing good. Have had some good feedback. We're putting an ad in the Trempealeau Times Inner Shopper this week just to let the community know about the opportunity to advertise in the guide. And then we actually did a post on Facebook on that too, using the Economic Development Facebook page, and we've gotten some response off of that. GEM Grant Strategic Planning, our first meeting is next Wednesday, October 10th. So that'll be good. We'll be pulling together all the local chambers and, some communities that don't have chambers, just, to get the kickoff here. We've been, over the last several weeks with our partner, Pilch and Barnett, gathering some baseline data where it's available, Facebook follows, for not only our site, but different community chamber Facebook pages, trying to look at their web analytics where we can, to see what their most popular pages are. And all of that just, again, this is a project, this GEM Grant project, that is very much focused on analytics and destination marketing research. So, we're not going to have something flashy coming out of this, anytime soon that's like some great new brand, although this may lead to something like that. But it is like, I kind of liken it to, it's like, this is laying the foundation of the house, and then we will build on that going forward. I did attend the Wisconsin Economic Development Association conference just Friday morning last week. Normally I would go to both days, but my wife had sinus surgery on Thursday, so I stayed with her. Friday morning, I got somebody to cover with her, so I was able to go up. We had a presentation, a session at the conference that I helped organize on the economic impact of outdoor recreation. And so we sponsored, Trempealeau County Tourism sponsored the session. I introduced and moderated it, gave some comments. But we also had Kennedy Demercier from Visit Eau Claire, who is an outdoor recreation expert. She's been really helpful with this 8-county group that I have mentioned before that has now received a federal grant to do essentially kind of like destination marketing research for this, 8-county region that we are part of. So that's exciting. Mike Golot, the city administrator in Altoona, was part of that panel, as was Kate Felton, who runs an outfitter business in downtown Eau Claire, and then Cassie Mordini, who is the director of the Outdoor Rec Office for the Wisconsin Department of Tourism. So it was a really well-received panel. I think it was really exciting for me for that to be at the intersection of economic development and tourism. So, and then finally, I've met over the last few weeks, either in person or on virtually, with 3 different internet providers about what are their plans or intentions in terms of broadband expansion with the new federal money that's going to be coming out next year under the BEAD program. letters of intent from internet service providers to serve unserved or underserved areas are due with the Public Service Commission today. So I know for a fact that one of those three is not going to submit a letter of intent. The other two sound like they will. The most recent data I saw in terms of unserved or underserved addresses in the county was in the vicinity of about 3,000. And they're mostly clustered, for reference, in the southern part of the county, southeast, kind of like from Galesville over towards Ettrick and up towards Blair.
Dodge, yep.
Yeah. And that's all I've got, unless there's any
All right.
questions.
Good job. All
Bob.
right. Any questions?
Yeah, Dave, when that map got put together from Land Records, have you been doing anything to promote that? Because we've gave out a lot of information this year on it, with that little screenshot that people could take with their telephone and stuff like that. Have you been promoting that
We
at
have
all?
not, no. That's something we haven't got to, and we honestly can. I mean, we can put that out on a Facebook post and just give people information on how to link to it.
Wonderful.
There's been a lot going on, and that's one of the things that's kind of got lost, but we'll.
Great. Good job. Anything else? All right, let's go into the park report, Jack.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys got a chance to review that park report. Guess it was over 2 pages, so just wrapping up a lot of things, this year. So I guess I'm not gonna go over the whole thing. Do we have any questions on anything that was on their park report, like including the launch or anything like that?
Oh, they'll look good.
All right.
All right.
Is there anything you want to highlight from it, or?
I'd say that Majidoc, we are in planning
Okay.
right now, and if it gets past, I wanted to get the launch in for fall camping, and it's taken a little bit just communicating with a couple different parties. We're having a guy out of Oconomowoc do the install. He's done a lot of these installs, so and he's gonna come in a couple $100 below the price of what Majidoc would do. So that will, if we get past mid-October, then we're just gonna wait till the spring. If he can do it in the first week of October, it'll be good for us to know how to winterize it, so.
Is that design that was on the,
Yep.
what you're going with?
Mm-hmm.
I had some questions about that.
Sure.
I guess, I talked to Kurt Rasmussen this morning.
Yep.
The biologist about that, and he had the same concerns I had.
Mhm.
Is that a breakaway design? Because it looks like a big clog, and when I brought up Google Earth and where that's going, when we go high flow and we're gonna flood several times, what's gonna happen when a big tree hits it?
Yeah, so they do float. So if we do get some
that,
flooding,
But I mean, I'm
Mhm.
more worried about it taking the hit and ended up in Arcadia. It's gonna be cabled to shore, is it gonna spin out of the way?
Yeah, well, the install will I'm still communicating with Brian Nelson a little bit on how he's gonna do that. But we would anchor it down somehow so that
I mean, is it gonna
in
have
multiple
pilings
places,
out on those?
pilings, likely. Mhm.
But a big tree is gonna outweigh that thing with the force of the river, it's
Right.
gonna get destroyed.
And there's a chance of that. And we've got that big oak that's right next to it that I think it's on its way down. So, I mean, that is a concern for sure, Buzz.
Well, I mean, other trees coming more than that, Jack. I mean, we're putting this thing out in that area of highly channelized flow where those velocities are gonna be up, and you got 12 feet sticking out, plus all the shear velocity on the bottom. If that thing isn't cabled somehow so it spins and gets tossed up on shore, we're gonna
Yeah,
lose it.
I did kind of go in there, and I had to get pictures for Majidoc. So the depth of the river in there is anywhere from, when I looked at it, 5 to 16 inches from 16 feet out from where we're trying to maybe put it on the inside of that mender bend. So I have it could happen. I'm not gonna say it won't, but
Well, it's gonna
we're
happen. I
gonna, we're
mean,
gonna
we go
secure
through
it.
many, multiple floods a year.
And we're gonna secure it in enough spots to where I don't think it's gonna completely go down the river. And then maybe we look at, getting a security, I was thinking about this too. If we have tent camping down there, you could maybe get a security camera that just points at the launch. That way you could check up on the launch during high rate events.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and we would probably need one down there anyway, with it being, more expensive
Buzz,
item.
with your expertise, is that something that you would be willing to work with Jack on and make sure that those things get in place best as they can?
Well, it's gotta be cabled or something like that, so it's gotta, should be able to, I don't know, Bob, you've done a lot of work on these things too, and mostly what I've always been paddling on rivers, we don't put them vertical out into the river, we put them parallel to the shore.
Right,
A totally different design than what we've chosen.
yeah. And Brian, once he gets to the site, like I said, he's installed these in a couple different places, including the Baraboo River. So,
Baraboo doesn't flood like the,
yeah.
Okay, so why don't we do this, Jack? Would you be willing to make sure that these guys know when that install happens and make sure that they can kind of be
Absolutely.
involved in that?
Yeah.
Yep, you bet.
Yeah, I'll communicate with Buzz and so
Perfect.
Brian should be around, the week of October 7th to the 11th. If he can't do it that week, then we're waiting till spring. So I'll let you guys know, and then maybe you
I
guys
trust
can
you,
meet me
Jack.
down there
It's
with
just-
Brian.
I
looks
appreciate
like
it.
the design is bad for the site.
And there's maybe ways we can work with
I mean, I
that.
love the design of getting the handicapped people in there, that's awesome.
Yeah,
But when I mean, it's gonna work fine when, at normal flow, but
right.
you put 4 more feet of water on the Trempealeau and you got a whole different river.
I hear ya.
And it isn't, and stuff comes down.
That river changes so fast with just a minimum of 2.5 to 3 inches of water. It ain't even funny. I mean, that whole lower landing, you get more than 3 inches of water, she's underneath.
Yeah, so Majidak, I've been communicating with this Elizabeth. She's been with the company since 1990. And when I told her about the fluctuation of the river, she didn't seemed as concerned as I thought she would be. Because I was trying to say, hey, this river might go up like 3-4 feet, and she said, oh, yeah, I mean, that's
I'm not
something
worried
we've.
about elevation, I'm worried about the river going from probably about 1/2 foot per second to 2 or 3 feet per second. That's a huge push, and you gotta, I mean, there's a lot of trash that comes down during
Right.
floods, it's velocity, not stage.
It sounds like it needs a little bit more discussion, so Jack, will you make sure that you touch base with these guys
Yeah.
and get Majidak involved, and we'll go from there?
Weather-wise, I think you're, might be even into the second week in October, looking at weather here, it's in the 70s, no rain in sight for the next 14 days.
Yeah, so I mean, the goal is to get that in there, like we've said for the last few months. I mean,
The last few years.
We want to get this in there, and it's going to be a great addition to the park. So
Absolutely, and we sure want to do it right, so we'll make sure that we get those guys involved.
there's probably a way we can work with the way it bends in there, and maybe it's not necessarily all the way out. Like I said, Brian will know better than I will.
All
I
right,
trust the experts who do this for a living, so.
park priorities?
Mostly stayed the same, included some capital improvement plan in there. Any questions? Septic, there was an update on our fencing project, with Tom Shank. Bob was with me in a meeting there. And basically, we did some review of the easement with Corp Council, and we're working through that right now.
All right, great. Petrick Park Enhancement Project update?
Yeah, we had a good session of thematic review. Things are going at a good pace, I'd say.
Okay.
We're working through these designs, and I'm pretty excited about them. I wanted to share the Petrick Park Memorial Park, their first initial design. I'm having a little technology issues today that I'm gonna have to work out with IT. So, I don't know if anyone else can pop up the Petrick Park PowerPoint, or not, but if not, it was in the packet.
Sure.
So if you didn't get a chance to review it, slide 5 and slide 10 kind of went over their design. They had a disc golf edition on there, and I don't want them, that's something I can do internally with
Sure.
a contact I've made from work. So I told them to take that out of the design. I don't want them looking at that, and then I want to see the park fully, whenever 2026. I want to see the park fully laid out, and then we'd maybe introduce disc golf in 2027. So, any questions on that?
Okay, can we go into the rodeo update?
All right, so there is going to be an action item here. So I went to the one in August. Becky went to the one in September. I'll be at the one in October. This next Saturday. So what we've been doing is we communicated with the highway department. My suggestion was we'd get the sheriff's office out there to help with control. Traffic control at the end, and they said they don't do that anymore due to the liability concerns. Brett gave me a contact with, the patrol superintendent, Kevin Rongstad, and we're doing signage with him. So we have signage out on the highway that we'll set up and take down on the day of the event for safety concerns on Highway 93. So that's kind of what I'll be doing out there on Saturday, also making sure they're doing what they say on the site map and making sure that the music gets shut off at 9:45. So I'll probably stop out there in the morning and then be back out there at around 10 o'clock and make sure all that kind of goes in order and as planned. So, but going back to with me going to the first one, Becky going to the second one, we had kind of talked on what we wanted to do for 2025. This is a big event, and it requires a little bit of planning, so sometimes it can, affect other parts of my work. So I think we want to scale things back quite a bit. So what I had recommended in the rodeo update or action was we do 3 events next year. 2 months apart, and then we raise that fee. I had put in between $500 to $750. So I'll leave it up to the committee about how you guys want to go about it, but I was thinking, and Ricardo and I had talked about May, July, and September next year.
Do you need a motion for that?
Jack, this is Jean. I have a question.
Sure, Gene.
You just said before, and maybe I didn't hear you right, that the rodeo won't pay anymore, so we have to go with the sheriff's office. Is that correct?
No.
For traffic control, or no?
No, the sheriff's office recommended, or they don't do traffic control anymore for that type of an event. So they just recommended I get some signage from the highway department, which we're taking care of at the last event and this event.
Okay. Thank you.
If you haven't seen that signage, Sheen, I've seen them at different places. It's a big sign that says special event ahead, be prepared to stop or whatever. They used to do that in front of Eckers when they had big Apple things going on, and they'll probably have stuff like that at Apple Affair this weekend in Galesville, so.
Did you have a question?
Right, Jeannie, I understand that. I just wanted to make sure I heard it right, and
Okay.
my concern was the traffic and going in and out. That's all.
Okay.
Yep, and I was gonna try to, since I was gonna be there at the park, I was maybe gonna try to do a hand at that point of concern. And last event, I didn't see this. I told them to bring lighted wands and vests. So I'm hoping that they have that again in October, because that was a concern in August that I saw for sure. Was you had cars coming in to that park entrance and exiting at the same point, and I don't know, it was just a mess. So
Is that something we could ask or maybe require that they do as a part of the contract?
yeah,
We certainly wouldn't want to have any accidents going on in an event.
right. And
I certainly don't
before
want-
it was more verbal with
Sure,
Ricardo.
sure.
This last time, maybe we make that event a part of our
Contract.
contract for next
And
year.
it could be this thing garners a lot more attention and they have a
Right.
lot more people, which will create more need for security.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I do not want you standing out in the middle of Highway 93 directing traffic.
Oh, no, it'd be in the park.
Okay.
Yep,
Please.
it'd be in the park. I'd just give a helping hand since I'm out there.
And I have another question. Oh, I'm sorry.
You go ahead, Renee.
Okay, about the fees. So is this a fundraising, I mean, is this a moneymaker,
This is a moneymaker
For
for their
Ricardo.
company.
For profit.
like significant? I mean, are we
Yeah, I
charging
mean,
enough?
there's a big insurance claim that he has to get at every event, and then he's got to pay workers. So we haven't talked about profit margins necessarily with him. I don't know if we're in the business to. Maybe we should. But Becky and I had said, like, we think 500 to 750, that's a comfortable price. I had mentioned the price to him. And then,
Ours are a lot higher than that.
okay.
One
And
question,
if you guys want to go, like, that was just what we were thinking. And if it goes to be more than that, then that's the committee's decision.
Do they have food at these events? So the potential for revenue is probably pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
their expenses are great, but their revenue is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pre-sale ticket of 50, and then it moves to 60, and on the day of event, 70.
Well, yeah.
And is the food a food truck?
Guerreros and La Tepieta.
Okay, so it's probably two separate, it's probably a separate deal. Okay.
and Ricardo's he was a little excited on the lighting and tried to get it in before we had all that. We need to make sure we keep a good communication channel open with Ricardo, because
Absolutely.
I know if we let him direct it, it won't go the direction that the park wants it
Yep,
to go.
and we,
I'm just trying to prevent the fact that down the road, I can see if he just thinks he's gonna act, we need to make sure he understands that it's still our park.
yeah.
That we are gonna be in charge of what's happening when it happens.
We are in charge of that lighting, are we not?
Oh, yeah, but
Yep.
he got it in a
There
little
was a
early in the report.
misunderstanding
He put it in?
with the last action, and Brightside Electric went in, and I told him the quote work was okay, but they went ahead and did the service. So that was one thing. We got a letter saying that the county owns that now. Made him sign and date it last meeting.
And that was well put together, well
Yeah.
organized, so it'll do the job, but he's gotta slow down. I know he's excited because he's making a lot of money.
I
And
personally like.
if it is 1,000, like you said,
think it
where
should be.
he's just gonna have more liability and more to think he's obligated to, listen to us more.
'Cause he had a great
Because the
turnout each
margin,
time.
yeah, 600 at the last two, both times, so 1,200 people.
If you want a motion, I would make a motion to support your plan for the 3 designated shows for next year, and the cost should be $1,000
Okay.
per show.
Second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion?
I guess the question I would have, does that grant then cover our expenses on cleanup? And, I mean, we gotta cover,
Cleanup's been very good.
Yeah, so
They've
there's no
been doing a
risk.
great job, and we
Yeah,
keep the
so-
grass long, so
So
we
that
can
doesn't-
handle the traffic of the tires.
okay.
But that's one thing I've been very impressed with, is there hasn't really been any damage like I was expecting.
So you bring in a bunch of porta potties, it's not like it's overloading the septic.
Yeah,
and
and
everything.
the first event, all 10 of them were on, kind of by the horse arena, and I told them to put some by the trails, because we had more traffic in that area, so we kind of split them half and half, and that seemed to work better last event, so. I'll check up on that again, this next one.
I think we need to table this till after this season is over and see where his figures are and go from there. If we keep our liability the same, but take a percentage of the gate.
I would need to talk with our corp counsel about
Yeah.
that, because that seems like out of our wheelhouse to
But I
be.
mean, wait till everything is done after the season, and we'll ask him how everything went, and, you know, realistically, as a business proposition type of thing.
If you have a motion to table, we can't debate it. It needs a second, and then it'll be addressed. So if you want to go with the motion to table, Bob?
I want to go with the motion to table this.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
You can't discuss the table. It's an immediate vote.
Okay.
So I guess you
So
can't
you'd
do
ask all
anything.
of
No, yeah, I mean, we
So-
got some time.
Yep.
You have
let's
to vote on the
this.
table.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you'd have to ask for a debate, all in favor of tabling, and then.
All in favor
the
of
oppo-
tabling?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Jack,
You'd
with
have
your
to
three
state
events,
whether
when
it's tabled
would you
or
like
not.
to
So-
schedule that? Like
Motion
you're
is
looking at
tabled or it's
May
not.
and then?
May,
Yep.
July, and September.
Okay, so the motion is tabled.
Ricardo liked that too.
Okay. And then that
I
would
do
be
have
the
a
same as
comment,
not on a
though.
holiday weekend?
Right.
And if your thought of, we take a percentage of his earnings, you need to discuss that with corp counsel.
I
I don't
I
believe
don't
that's
know
even
if
anything we
we're
can do.
in, I don't know if we're in the business of making money.
We're not.
I think we're in the business of providing county residents
Experiences.
with experiences and, yeah.
Yeah, it should, just my observation for what it's worth, is it should cover our costs, and I think we need to be really diligent about documenting what costs it is, and, you know, the outside observation is Jack has spent a lot of time on this, you know, talking back and forth with Ricardo and stuff like that. Now, you know, maybe with 3 events under the belt this year, it gets simpler next year. But, you know, there's some other things that, you know, we've been doing as part of this relationship with this event, and including, like, helping promote it, you know, on our Facebook pages and stuff like that.
And obviously, it should help with the parks, site nights and that type of thing, I would
Sure.
hope, yeah.
And it's an underserved group
Yes,
in our
absolutely.
county.
Yep.
So that they found a niche that really works, that the county can assist it is a high
I think
priority.
it would be a lot more straightforward to just decide what the fee is that covers our costs, you know, and not try to get into, you know,
Okay, so the
counting
motion has been
revenues.
tabled, so we'll talk about that at the next meeting.
Or it could be brought up at this meeting after another motion's been conducted. It was just tabled, it just has to have one motion before we address it again.
Sounds good.
Do you feel comfortable just after this last show, looking at everything and then talking about your time, and maybe $1,000 to use the park might not be enough? I mean, just bring back that info. But I mean, I want it to make it be reasonable so that we're supporting the Hispanic, Latinx community in our world here. And I like that you brought up it's underserved with not a lot of opportunities, and this is really good, so.
Yeah, and we did really give him a break this year.
Sure.
At 250.
And you worked your tail off to give
Yeah.
it to him, so
Uh-huh.
thank you, Jack.
So, I mean,
Well, it's a long-term.
1,000,
Gotta-
I think 1,000's a good number, but I'm okay with tabling it and going back.
Are the 2 marks there during these rodeos?
Were at the last one, I went to a Brew game, so they were
Oh,
able
good for
to
you.
fill in for me.
I think the 2 marks should be at all of them, and we can, you know, maybe we need to look at increasing their time to cover that.
Yeah, they are part-time and their hours are dwindling, so
Yeah.
they only got like 50 hours left.
So
So
I
I
think
need
that's-
to do things at the end of the year.
That's something that this committee needs to think about, is supporting the 2 marks, if they're there next year, to be part of this. Because
I'm
they
wondering
see
if
the
we
park
just
every
need to-
day.
I'm wondering if we give it a little bit more time so that we can determine what our actual costs are.
Right.
That'd be excellent.
Jack,
Do
Bring
you want
this
me
up-
to talk to Ricardo about profit margins, or is that,
No, I don't think that's our
If he's
Okay.
making
business.
money, that's great, because he'll be back next year.
that's
Yep.
what I figured.
Sounds good.
many
So do
people
we
can?
need to make a decision for your budget, or is that already done for next? do we
For
need
the
to-
rodeo?
We don't need to worry about that, your time, okay, good.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead with tabling
Did
that.
you have, I thought
All
you
right.
were gonna say something, maybe not.
No, I think I said everything.
Okay.
All right, Parks Capital Improvement Plan, Jack?
Yeah, like I said before, I was having some technical difficulties. You guys got a page in your packet. I'll go ahead and send the PowerPoint out
Perfect.
into email.
Yeah, I can't even see the PowerPoint here. I was gonna try to bring it up for you.
No, yeah, I was just gonna go over it in
we
this
don't have it.
meeting.
Okay, I'm
You guys
sorry.
don't have
Yeah,
it,
no wonder
so-
I'm like, I
No
can't
problem.
find that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we'll go to the Strum Pickleball Courts discussion. Becky
Yeah.
and Jack?
So Becky wasn't able to make it today, but I really appreciated Strum, kind of making an effort to not necessarily, I think just making an effort to do something for recreation in the county. It's, a lot of these communities aren't going that far into like courts and then having a group to go along with it and trying to make a difference. So, I mean, what they're doing is very commendable. I don't necessarily know how we're connected, but there might be something there because the county used to have a park in Crystal Lake. So with recreation, this is a new, like my position in that part of it is new. So we have to think about not just me, but whenever I have things like these guys that come up, I want to bring them to the committee and then we can talk about that. They had said they want me to share like a promotion. So I just wanted to make sure that's okay with the committee before I do that. So like when it comes to recreation things and people reaching out to me, there's some things that if we're gonna be working with somebody, we should just like have it, talk about it before we're, promoting things that maybe don't have any connection. There might have been some of that before, so I just wanted to be transparent there.
So your promoting is making sure we get this, thank you for turning that on, the information about the open house and what they're doing. And you know me, I'd like to bring back looking at how we can financially support them, but it's not on the agenda, so, I will bring that up later again.
Okay.
Where would we promote them? On
Just
our Facebook
yeah,
page? and-
Parks and Recreation.
I don't see that as any different than anything else that we're promoting. I think we should go ahead and do that as much as we can.
I agree.
Yep. All right.
Now we just need a restaurant in Strum and I'll be happy.
Okay.
Sounds like a business you could start up, Jeannie.
I'm
Future-
too old.
future-
How good a cook are
Future
you?
agenda
I'm a really
items.
good cook.
The Shank fencing RFP, that'll be
In the future.
that'll be a future item.
Alrighty, and the
Not this
campsites
one.
and the Ashley pricing we'll talk about next agenda.
Yep.
And then the next meeting, November 5th, consider moving that date, is that a,
Yeah, it doesn't interfere with my voting. We got all day to vote.
Jean, who I don't think's on the call anymore because she had to jump off at 9:30, had asked if we were considering moving it, and I said, I don't know. We can put it on the agenda. I don't have any problem with leaving it on the 5th. If we were to move it back a week, I would not be available because I'll be out of the country.
And we, board members, we have a zillion meetings in October with budget stuff.
Does Jean work a voting poll? Does she work?
I don't know.
I don't know.
well, we do have the county board budget meeting on November 12th. Would it be possible to just do it before that?
I'd like to just leave it.
Yeah, if we go to November 12th, I will not be here. I will be out of the country. I would rather leave it on the 5th.
Committee is on that day as well. That was a-
Yeah, Madam Chair, I prefer to leave it like Supervisor Nutter said, maybe leave it there for now.
There's so much going on in October.
All right, sounds good. And then, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second.
God,
Great,
we're
thank you
early.
so much.
It's always my favorite motion.
Yeah.